Who am I kidding? The one I should be talking to is the one who's always been there for me. My cigarette.
Forget about your sister. You've got me. For the rest of your life, I'll be the first thing you think about every morning. And the last thing you do every night.
Don't be scared, Jub Jub. It's Mama. You make me feel. You make me feel like a natural woman.
Welcome back. For starters, as this will be about half a body of paint, my body specifically, I am priming half my body, which includes my face, arms, hands, and chest. It feels like I just put on such a heavy amount of sunscreen. Then adding a wig cap to contain my hair as to make sure that no yellow or very little gets in, and looking absolutely smashing as I do. Picture perfect, might I add. As for the body paint itself, I'm using a dense body painting brush. This one is from Made You Look, whom is a legit body painter on social media platforms. This is a multiple step process. I added on the first few layers with a body paint. I even got it in my ears, which felt absolutely disgusting. To do my chest, I had on the clothes which would take up the least amount of my skin, so I knew exactly where I needed to add the most amount of color for the characters. I added tissue to be sure not to get any paint on my actual clothing until it obviously set. I did go back and forth between the brush to apply the color and a sponge, like a makeup sponge, with the same paint on it to even out the coat a little bit more. But to get it more opaque, I added some similarly colored eyeshadow over top to both set it for good and to be able to add more body paint over top without taking what's underneath off, as some of the areas of my face weren't taking the paint as well as I would have hoped. As for the eye makeup, I know Patty and Selma don't actually have makeup on most episodes, but I want to do something to differentiate my eyes, or else I would just be looking kind of like a yellow thumb. So I made it as subtle as the eye makeup could be on a yellow cartoon character, and that is like an orange/peach. Going in with a creamy white base to start and make it pop, I'm blending out an orange peach into my crease and above. Carrying it below my bottom waterline as well. I'm adding a black liner to my upper waterline to add a almost cartoonish effect and also hide the fake lash line. While that was drying, I also did my eyebrows with a yellow liquid lipstick on an eyebrow brush, which you can't really tell, but it is there, I promise. And then it was lash time for the top and bottom. Obviously the top was bigger, but the bottom had a very specific look, so I customized it, which consisted of adding on what would normally be top lashes and cutting them very, very carefully once they were on to make them match up to the other side better. I can't stress how careful you want to be if you're dealing with any scissors around your eye, not to mention, actually cutting your eyelashes, because you have eyelashes below them, probably. Also adding a wet to dry eyeshadow. Then it was back to black on the water lines, top and bottom. Once the paint on my chest had set better, I started on my arms with the same steps. And then let that dry for a minute while adding the orange liquid lipstick to my lips to match the eye work. I did bounce back and forth, letting things dry in between to make it as time efficient as possible. This took a while. With the same orange I used on my eyes, I started some shading in the cleavage area, on the collarbones, and my cheekbones. Blended that out a bit to diffuse the color with the same yellow I had previously used on the rest of my body to set it. I did keep the entirety of my palms my skin color, but did the upper portion later on, as I still wanted to be able to have use of them without getting paint or eyeshadow on literally everything, like the accessories for example, which consists of faux pearl necklaces I customized for this look, and honestly had a problem getting it on. That's what he said. There we go. Okay. A wig which I didn't even remotely customize until I got that on, and then it was just a matter of parting it slightly down the middle. Removing the tissue from my chest area and the arm area, and then adding a little bit more contouring to around my neck. Not that you'd even see that, but I knew it was there. And then finally the other custom pieces, the earrings. To make those, I took some tin foil and rolled it into 2 equal-ish sized balls. Conditioned some oven baked clay and coated the tinfoil balls in it. First just kind of with like a chunk, like I wrapped it around with a chunk, and then slowly manipulating it with my hands, pushing it, pulling in, cutting off the excess until they were smaller and lighter. Once I had them to my liking, I pushed a wire through just to create a hole in both. And then use them to indicate on another piece of clay that I conditioned what size they were going to make the second round of earrings, patties. This wasn't exact science, but it was enough. As my clay machine doesn't go as thick as I needed these pieces to be, I made one triangle, placed it down and made another one to be exactly that, actually 4 in all, to join 2 of them together to make a thicker piece, being sure to close the separation with oil of infant, aka baby oil. I made a hole between them through the thickness of it all, so I could fit an O-ring into it. I did this with Selma's as well, but instead of an O-ring, it was just an eye hook, hence the hole. Then I simply placed them down on some plastic and spray painted them, their respective colors.
Smiley face is gone, but it's still kind of there. That looks like a jack-o'-lantern.
In retrospect, I wish I had sealed them first, as spray paint does not properly stick to polymer clay. I don't know the science behind that, but there is an improper chemical reaction, as so Google says.
Oh, that's really gonna look like a jack-o'-lantern. I did not even think about this when I started, I swear.
After I was done with both sides, or each earring and necklace, I then decided to seal the earrings with glue. Which glue, you might ask? Good question. Because I did have multiple issues with multiple different glues.
Oh my god. Oh my god. Come on, I can feel it. Oh my god. Should not be this hard to open a jar of glue. I am sweating. Okay, that's issue for another day, I guess.
Ended up finally using regular old school glue to fully seal it and hung it to dry on some MacGyver jig type shit. Once everything was dry, I added the actual jewelry pieces that allow it to go into your ear.
I don't know if you noticed this little guy in the background.
And then finally, we get to the last part of the paint job, which is simply doing the top of my hands as I stated before. And then adding the same yellow eyeshadow over top of that to once again set it. Following that up with the same contoured orange I had used onto my knuckles to show some creases. I did get one of those toys that you'd like put into water and you could see them grow. But for the life of me, I couldn't find it. Probably find it eventually in a few years, but who knows. You always find something when you're not looking for it, right? It would have been the perfect iguana Jub Jub, but alas, I found this baby in the fidget toy section of the dollar store. You gotta use what you got. Maybe someday I'll find my true Jub Jub. When I took out all the tissue though, I ended up realizing that I actually wanted to add more yellow onto my chest, so I took the straps down from my shoulders and realized I was kind of giving like 1970s mob boss housewife vibes, and I was kind of into it.
God, I love this one more.
Well, that is it for today's video. I hope you guys enjoy. See you in my next one.